A Nigerian-American university dropout built an online empire teaching digital marketing to thousands of people around the world. Her success becomes a miracle story until a mysterious Korean investor walks into her life with promises of expansion, love, and endless fame. But what started as business soon turns into a dangerous game of control, manipulation, and heartbreak. This story shows how power can look like love and how love can destroy everything when it's mixed with greed. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. But if you already subscribed, God bless you richly. Tonya dropped out of university when things got tough. Her mom called her stubborn, her friends laughed at her, and her father stopped sending money. But she refused to give up. With just her phone and laptop, she started posting videos teaching digital marketing, how to run ads, grow pages, and make money online. At first, nobody cared. Then one day, one of her videos went viral. She woke up to hundreds of new followers and clients begging her to teach them more. By the end of the year, she was making more than $40,000 a month. She moved into a luxury apartment, bought her mom a car, and became an online star. But fame came with hate. People called her proud, fake, and manipulative. Some even made videos accusing her of fraud. She didn't care until one day, a message appeared in her email. It was from a Korean man named Jim Park, claiming to be an investor. His offer was simple. He wanted to scale her business globally.
At first, she thought it was a joke. But when she opened the Zoom call and saw his face, something in her heart shifted. Tonya couldn't take her eyes off the man on her screen. He looked flawless, neat black hair, sharp jawline, and that calm Korean accent that made everything he said sound like a promise. Jin Tak introduced himself as the CEO of a Seoul-based marketing company that helped influencers grow their brands worldwide. He told her he'd been following her content for months and believed she had what it took to become the next big global face in digital marketing. At first, Tonya kept her guard up. She dealt with fake investors before, men who pretended to help only to flirt or steal her ideas. But Jin was different. He came prepared with documents, figures, and presentations that looked too professional to fake. He spoke with confidence, and every word he said made her feel like her small company was about to explode into something huge. Still, Tonya didn't trust easily. She told him she'd think about it. That night, she couldn't sleep. She replayed his words in her mind, the way he said, "You deserve the world, Tonya." No one had ever said that to her, not even her family. By morning, she made up her mind to give him a chance.
Within days, Jane wired her the first part of the investment, $300,000. It felt unreal. She cried, laughed, and screamed all at once. Her followers noticed her glow and started asking questions. Who was behind her new brand, her new confidence? She smiled and said, "Just business." But deep down, something about Jane felt too perfect. And perfect men, she knew, usually came with hidden claws. The partnership moved fast, almost too fast. Within a month, Jane and Tonya were on Zoom calls almost every night planning campaigns, analyzing growth, and laughing at memes like they'd known each other for years. He started calling her my brilliant girl, and she found herself blushing even when she didn't need to. It wasn't supposed to be romantic, but every message from him made her heart skip. One evening, Jane surprised her with a plane ticket to Seoul. He said he wanted her to meet his team and sign official documents in person. At first, Tonya hesitated. She'd never been outside the US since leaving Nigeria, and flying halfway across the world to meet a man she'd never seen physically sounded risky. But Jane was persuasive. He told her everything would be arranged. 5-star hotel, business meetings, security, and a personal translator. Tonya called her best friend Clara and told her the plan. Clara screamed through the phone, "Girl, are you mad? You don't just fly across the world for a man you met online. What if it's a cycle? She laughed it off, saying, "Relax, Clara, this is business." But deep down, even she wasn't sure. When the flight day came, Jane's assistant sent a black car to pick her up. She looked stunning in her fitted white suit and braids tied neatly in a bun. The driver opened the door and greeted her politely. Everything seemed professional, too professional. As the car drove away, Tonya checked her reflection on her phone camera and whispered, "This is my moment." She didn't know that the journey she just started would test everything: her heart, her brand, and her freedom.
The next morning, Jane finally appeared in person. He was taller than she expected, dressed in a grey suit that looked like it cost more than her entire wardrobe. His smile was calm, his voice smooth, and his eyes unreadable. "Welcome to Seoul," he said softly. "You're even more beautiful in person." Tonya laughed awkwardly, pretending not to blush. The meeting that followed went perfectly. He introduced her to his staff, presented new partnership deals, and showed projections that could triple her income. But there was something strange about the way his team acted. They barely spoke to her directly, always looking at Jane before answering any question. During lunch, one of the assistants slipped and called Jane chairman, which confused her. He brushed it off, saying it's just a nickname. That night, he invited her to a rooftop dinner. The view was breathtaking, candles flickering against the skyline. Jane raised his glass and said, "Tonya, this is the beginning of something global." She smiled, feeling both powerful and nervous. He reached across the table, touched her hand, and whispered, "I believe in you." Her heart melted, but her instincts whispered a quiet warning she didn't understand yet. Tonya woke up the next morning to a flood of notifications. Her videos had gone viral overnight. Her engagement had doubled, her followers were skyrocketing, and even American brands were sending her partnership offers. It was like the world had suddenly noticed her. Jane congratulated her with a smile that seemed too perfect. He said, "This is just the beginning. Soon, you won't just be a creator, you'll be an empire." Over the next few weeks, everything moved like fire. Jane introduced new marketing systems, set up meetings with Asian investors, and rebranded her company's image under a new logo, one he personally designed. At first, she was excited. The brand looked clean, modern, and global. But something strange started happening. Her name was slowly disappearing. Her website now said "Powered by JP Global" instead of her own signature. When she asked Jane about it, he smiled and said, "Don't worry, it's just branding. You're the face, I'm just the system behind you." Still, it bothered her. Clara, her best friend back home, called one night and said, "Girl, I checked your site. Why is your own name gone? Is that man controlling you or what?" Tonya laughed, trying to hide her concern. "No, Clara, you overthink too much. It's business." But the more she said it, the less she believed it. One night, she walked into Jane's office unexpectedly and saw him on a call. His tone was cold, professional, and nothing like the man who smiled at her. She heard him say, "Once the contract is finalized, we'll own everything, content, followers, all of it." Tonya froze. Own everything? Did he mean her business, her brand? And before she could step back, Jane turned, smiled gently, and said, "Tonya, you shouldn't be here." Tonya stood frozen by the doorway, her heart thumping so loud it almost drowned his voice. Jane's expression didn't change. He just smiled, calm and calculated, like nothing was wrong. He said, "You should rest. You've been working too much." His tone was gentle, but something in his eyes had shifted, something darker.
She forced a smile and mumbled, Yeah, maybe you're right, before slipping out of the room. Back in her hotel suite, she locked the door and replayed what she had heard. Own everything, content, followers, all of it. That couldn't be what she thought it meant, right? Maybe she misunderstood. But when she checked the contract he'd sent her days earlier, her hands started shaking. The fine print said that JP Global had full ownership rights to all digital assets, content and licensing tied to her name. Her name! Tonya felt sick. The man she trusted, worked with, and maybe even liked had planned this all along. She grabbed her phone and called Clara in tears. "He's trying to steal everything, Clara. My name, my followers, my business, everything." Clara shouted from the other end, "I told you he was too smooth. You don't mix business with feelings, Tonya. Pack your things and come home now." But it wasn't that simple. Jean had already taken control of her accounts. When she tried to log into her business dashboard, it showed access restricted. Her emails were rerouted through JP Global servers. She didn't even own her own website anymore. For the first time since meeting him, she realized the truth. Jim Park didn't fall in love with her. He fell in love with her empire. That night, Tonya couldn't sleep. She kept pacing the room, her heart heavy with anger and fear. Everything she'd worked for, her followers, her money, her name, was slipping into someone else's hands. She opened her laptop again, trying to recover access to her business account, but each login attempt failed. The message on the screen burned into her mind. "This account has been transferred to JP Global Management." By morning, she decided to confront Jean. She marched into his office, her eyes red from tears and lack of sleep. He looked up from his desk, still wearing that same cold smile. "Tonya," he said calmly, "you should be grateful. You're now part of something bigger than yourself." Her voice cracked as she shouted, "You tricked me, Jean. You made me sign away everything." He leaned back in his chair, unfazed. "No one forced you. You signed the papers yourself." Tonya slammed her hands on his desk. "You used me. You pretended to care." He smirked, his voice low and slow. "I never said I loved you, Tonya. I said I believed in you. And I do, but as a product." That word, product, cut deep. She felt small, humiliated, and furious. Security walked her out of the building as she screamed insults in frustration. She called him a liar, a sneak, a coward who hides behind his suit. But Jean didn't move. He just stood by the window, watching her leave with the same unreadable face. Outside, in the cold streets of Seoul, Tonya realized she was completely alone. No access, no team, no control. The empire she built from her bedroom was now owned by the man who had stolen her heart and everything else. Tonya sat on a bench outside the hotel with tears streaming down her face. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Emails from clients, messages from followers, and notifications she couldn't even open anymore. Everything connected to her brand was gone. The company name, her YouTube channel, even her online courses had been renamed under JP Global. It was like she never existed. She tried to call Jean, but his number was blocked. The front desk told her that her hotel bill had been paid for only for one more night. After that, she would be checked out automatically. The reality hit her like a slap. She was in a foreign country with no business, no money, and no one to help her. For the first time in her adult life, she felt powerless. Then, her anger started to burn through her tears. "He thinks he's smart," she muttered under her breath. "He doesn't know who he's messing with." She grabbed her phone and contacted Clara again through WhatsApp.
Clara answered immediately. "Girl, talk to me. Did you get your stuff back?" Tonia's voice shook. "No, he took everything, but I'm not done. I'm going to fight back." Clara stayed silent for a moment, then said, "Then fight smart. Don't go back at him with emotions, go back with proof." That one sentence lit a spark in Tonia's mind. She remembered all the emails, the calls, the screenshots she had saved during their partnership. Somewhere in all that, there had to be evidence of his manipulation. Tonia wiped her tears, opened her laptop, and started digging through her old files. Her hands were trembling, but her focus was sharp. Jin might have stolen her empire, but he hadn't stolen her mind. For the next 3 days, Tonia barely ate or slept. She locked herself in a small cafe near her hotel, charging her laptop and phone for hours as she searched through old messages, contracts, and recorded meetings. Every click felt like a fight for her life. The more she dug, the more she found. Emails where Jin edited contract terms without notice. Voice notes where he hinted at taking full control once she trusted him enough. By the 4th night, she had enough evidence to expose him, but she needed a way to reach her followers again. All her official accounts were gone, but Clara had an idea. "Start a new page," she said over the phone. "Tell your story. The truth will spread faster than his lies." Tonia hesitated, scared that no one would believe her, but when she looked at herself in the mirror, tired, angry, and determined, she knew she couldn't stay silent.
She created a new YouTube channel called The Real Tonia Speaks. In her first video, she told everything: how she started, how Jin appeared, how he took over her brand and silenced her. Her voice cracked in the middle, but she didn't stop. "They can take my name," she said, "but they can't take my truth." Within hours, the video started gaining views. People recognized her face and shared her story. Comments poured in. Some called her stupid, others called her brave. But the noise didn't matter. She was back in the game. By the next morning, Jin's company started trending on Twitter for all the wrong reasons. Screenshots of contracts, emails, and call logs began circulating online. The empire he built on lies was starting to crack, and Tonia was the one holding the hammer. The internet was on fire. Tonia's video hit 1 million views in less than 24 hours. Hashtags like #JusticeForTonia and #JinPackExposed spread across social media. People from Nigeria, America, and Korea were flooding comment sections, demanding answers. Influencers and journalists started reaching out for interviews. For the first time since losing everything, Tonia felt powerful again. But Jin didn't stay quiet. The next day, his company released a public statement calling her an emotional ex-partner and accusing her of lying for attention. He even leaked private screenshots, twisting them to make her look unprofessional and unstable. The media split in two. Some believed her, others mocked her. It felt like another punch in the guts. Clara called and shouted through the phone, "Girl, don't stop talking. Keep fighting. You've got them scared now." Tonia wiped her face and nodded. She went live again, this time showing actual video clips from Zoom meetings, clips where Jin's voice could be heard saying things like, "We'll own everything by next quarter." That one line destroyed his defense. In less than an hour, JP Global's website went down. Sponsors pulled out. Korean media started investigating. Jin's calm, polished image began to crumble. Tonia watched everything unfold from her small hotel room, trembling, not with fear this time, but victory. Late that night, she got an email from Jin himself. It read, "You've made a big mistake. You don't know who you are fighting." She stared at the screen, then typed back, "Oh, I know exactly who I'm fighting. A thief in a suit." The war wasn't over yet, but the tables had finally turned. The next morning, Tonya woke up to a storm of breaking news. Jin Park had been arrested by Korean authorities for fraud, money laundering, and identity manipulation. Someone from his own company had leaked files proving that he'd used fake investment deals to control digital creators worldwide. The empire he built on other people's dreams was collapsing fast.
Tonya sat by her window, watching the city she once feared now bathed in sunrise. She felt peace for the first time in months. Her new YouTube channel had grown past 1 million subscribers, and fans were flooding her comments with love. Some called her an inspiration. Others said she was proof that you can lose everything and still rise again. Clara called, screaming with joy, "Girl, you did it! You actually did it!" Tonya laughed through tears. "We did it, Clara. Nobody owns me anymore." A few days later, she flew back to Atlanta. Cameras waited at the airport, reporters shouting questions, but she didn't stop to answer. She just smiled and whispered under her breath, "I'm free." She rebuilt her business under a new name, Bold Africa Digital. And this time, every contract had her lawyer's signature. Her story became a documentary watched by millions across the world. One night, as she went live to thank her audience, she said softly, "Sometimes, losing everything is the only way to see who you really are. Don't let anyone own your dream." She smiled, leaned closer, and added, "If this story touched you, make sure you like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And if you have already subscribed, God bless you richly." Then she ended the stream with a smile, stronger, wiser, and finally free.